Hi everyone, so this is my last layout for my white paper experiment, and this one is a little bit different because I was doing some sort of mixed media-y painty play, and this was a piece that I was kind of wiping my stencils and stuff on, and then it turned into this, which I really liked, so I decided to use that for layout background. And it is still, using a piece of white cardstock, but yeah, it's just creating my own pattern. And so I have this piece of paper from the +1 collection from Amy Tangerine, which I've had in my stash for a long while, and I decided to use that to pick the yellow out. As you can see, this is a piece of old paper. I think it's from, is it Sandy Lion or someone? And I just used the background of that just because I was just using it to print off my stencil. And where everything came out, it kind of just worked really well. And so I decided to start building my cluster up. And I'm going to do the bottom corner. And then this is just another photo from me and my boyfriend's Valentine's Day celebration. And this little label here is just perfect with the colour tones on this piece of paper, which was kind of a happy accident, really. Here you'll see I'm also cutting down the border strip to use as well, and that's a black with arrows on, so I'm going to be using that here as well. And I'm still going to be using the same two paper pads, which is the Becky Higgins Project Life desktop and the Serendipity collection from Dear Lizzie. Wow, total brain fart moment there. And so that's what I'm going to be using, and I keep flicking through these paper pads and going, oh no, that paper's too nice to use. Oh no, I love that paper. And now I'm just going, look Nancy, come on, just cut it out and use it. I just need to give myself a talking to every so often to not savour paper, because I have lots of paper. So I'm going to be inking everything in black because I have got these black splatters and things in the background, and it's going to just help tie everything in together. And as I said, I really enjoyed kind of making paper and doing different things without necessarily a layout in mind. This was literally just mark making and playing, and it was really great fun. It was an evening I spent with a couple of my crafty pals, and when I decided that, this challenge was to embrace white cardstock this month, I thought, this piece of paper was going to be perfect for that. So I'm going to build my cluster here at the side, and at the moment I've put it too far over, so I am going to end up peeling it up and moving it over slightly, which is why I make the mistake of using wet glue on this piece, because I then can't move it over. But I am eventually going to have to peel that up. So again, I'm just tucking another little layer in here, and again just using all the tiny little strips and pieces that are kind of been around for far too long. And this is where I decided that the whole balance of the layout was a little bit off because I'd put it over too much. I kind of like to normally use the 2/3 rule, and that had kind of slipped down a little bit. So just moving that up slightly, and I'm much happier with where that is. And you can kind of even see a little bit more of the pink of the background then. Again, this is just another piece of paper from the Dear Lizzie Serendipity collection. And this it's got quite a sort of watercolour effect, as has the stitch line from Amy Tangerine. And so where this kind of background is kind of distressed and uneven, everything kind of works quite well. So I'm going to be using some of these little cut apart pieces. And I really love the 6x6 pads, the fact that they include the cut apart pieces that are normally 12x12, because they're really great for just adding little layers and little bits of interest to the page. So here you see I'm just peeling up that black bit, and I've managed to get enough off that I can then start trying to somehow fill in that weird gap that I've got at the bottom there. Again, I'm just going to be using this sort of scalloped edge, which is a piece from the border strip of the 6x6 pad. So I'm trying to just use up all the tiny little bits that I've got on my desk. And, and trying to not flick through pads of paper and go, no, I'll save that. No, I'll save that. And actually just get them used and get them on layouts. So I'm just going to be playing about here and looking through some more bits that I can add to my embellishment. And I just think edging everything in that yellow older Amy Tangerine paper just makes everything pop. And because that paper I used for doing my sort of off printing and stamping was very thin, and you do find that with the older scrapbook papers, they are a lot thinner than what we're used to these days. We are very much spoilt. So I worked on it straight away with mounting it on that background, because otherwise there was going to be no way that I was going to be able to build my layer on top. So I'm just going to be playing around placing all these little colour part pieces. And I find, that you don't need to necessarily buy the embellishment packs. If you do get the 6x6, you normally get a couple of pieces of paper that you can kind of make your own embellishments with. So I'm just going to stick these down, including some tiny little pieces that I seem to have cut out there to add as well. And I love navy. I'm so glad that navy is, strong in scrapbooking, because I think, it's an underused colour. So I'm going to keep playing and messing around with this bit here, and where I'm going to put bits. I end up just sticking these down, and excuse me, sorry. And yeah, I'm just going to keep tucking bits in, and that's again why I only use adhesive in the middle, because it does mean that I can then just lift my layers up. And you'll know that some people always find, that layering? What am I even talking about? Layering is troubling. There we go, that's what I meant to say for them. And it really is a case of just keep going and going and going, but don't use a lot of adhesive. You can always go back and add some wet glue in between the layers, just to make everything, secure. But you don't want everything really secure and stuck down to your page when you're still adding to it. So I very much just sort of say go with it, just keep piling it on. Of course there's loads of videos out there about layering, but I personally think it's something that you just have to keep doing until you're happy. And it's one of those things that you just need to practice and do more and more of. And I would say that I really missed it in doing my project life, the fact that I don't have the opportunity to do as many sort of fussy layers as this. And that's what I really enjoy, the sort of fussy layering. So I really wanted to include that XOXO, but it just wasn't working on that square design, so I've just cut out that heart there, and I'm going to be using that down at the bottom. I do have these stickers again that say like you and me, and different things like that. And as this is a Valentine's layout, it's great to use. And again, I really just like adding sort of that sort of blacky grey colours in, because that's going to help tie that kind of busy, fussy background in. So I'm now just going to be sticking another little label and bit in there, just to kind of fill in that weird, odd space that I had. And I also have these gems, and they came in the embellishment pack from the Kiss Kiss collection, I believe. Again, these were very, very kindly sent to me by Emma, and I really love those gems. Those heart gems work really fab on here, and so I had 3 of them that I could use to kind of create a nice triangle around the layout. And because they are so shiny, they just make everything pop. So I'm just going to be fussing around where I'm going to be placing these hearts. I'm just going to be using my wet glue to hold those down, and they stick absolutely fine. And that one I just tuck there behind that layer. So I'm really happy with that sort of bottom cluster, and I'm not sure at this point what I was going to do for a title. And when I was looking for stuff, I found those older Amy Tangerine sort of words, and again, I know they're in like the new Maggie Holmes collection, the new Create Paper ones, the new Amy Tan ones. the scripted word ones are still very in. So there is lots of stuff in the store, in the Hey Look Magpie store, and stuff coming out soon as well. But as these are in my stash, I want to get them used up, so I'm just going to be using them for my title and some further embellishment. So I've just taken a selection of all the papers that I've used in that bottom cluster, and I'm going to be bringing it up to the top of the layout. Although there's there's beautiful background and pattern there, it is a little bit lost up in that top corner. So I'm just going to again ground everything down with strips of this paper. And I said these are the papers from those 2 paper pads, and that piece is actually even the other scallop piece from that border pack. From the pack, the borders of the paper on the pack. You know what I mean. Don't make me explain myself, people. So I'm just going to be using those on that top bit to help stick my title on, which is going to be this beautiful word Cherish. And again, as this is a Valentine's lovey-dovey layout, that's going to work, fine. And I had just overlaid that over the back, sort of surrounding background paper. And there is some XOXOs on here, so again, I'm just going to stick those down. And again, kind of create a a visual triangle of these sort of black foam thickers. And they're just going to make everything pop on this layout, and I'm really happy with how this turned out from this kind of piece of paper which was kind of just messy and I didn't know what to do, and I've made this beautiful layout. So really love this piece. So thank you very much guys for watching, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye.